At Manchester Airport, a very small plane was waiting to take us to Copenhagen on our way to Iceland. Unfortunately, there are no direct flights today, but after changing to a much larger plane, as we took off from Copenhagen, it gave us the opportunity to look at the bridge emerging from under the sea, connecting Denmark with Malmö in Sweden. Flying over Iceland, it's -32 outside, hence the ice spots on the window. And there is Vatnajökull, Iceland's largest glacier. With an abundance of mountains, rivers, volcanoes, lakes and glaciers, there are many adventures waiting for us here in the land of ice and fire. So, some 6.5 hours after leaving Manchester, we arrived at Reykjavik's Keflavik Airport, from where our driver would take us for 2 nights in a hotel before our cruise around Iceland begins. We drove through the lava fields, and it was in this area only a year ago that the Fagradalsfjall volcano erupted. Once in the city, we passed Hallgrímskirkja, designed to resemble the mountains and glaciers of Iceland's landscape. For now, it's time to check into the hotel and then go out to explore. Reykjavik was founded in 1786 by the Danish. Beer was illegal until 1989. It's one of the world's cleanest, greenest and safest cities. And Iceland ranks as one of the happiest countries in which to live. Rainbow Street leads up to the parish church. Hallgrímskirkja is a national monument. The tower stands 73 meters high, and from the top there are the most amazing views over Reykjavik and the surrounding district. The interior is stunning. The church, which is Evangelical Lutheran, took 41 years to build and is the largest in Iceland, with a highlight being the sound of the magnificent church organ with its 5,275 pipes. Nearby, the French hospital was built in 1902, at a time when almost 200 French ships fished in Icelandic waters. Fishing is the mainstay of Iceland's economy, and tourism, of course. In 1986, the town hall funded a competition for a new outdoor sculpture to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the city of Reykjavik. The Sun Voyager 1. The architect says it gives us a promise of a primeval land. It's been a good day, but it won't be going dark because we're in the land of the midnight sun. Next morning, on a hill in Reykjavik, there's a building built on 6 hot water storage tanks shaped like a pearl. It's become a museum, for we're going to visit Perlan, which will tell us about the land of ice and fire. But this is no ordinary museum. The planetarium will tell us about the science and myths surrounding the Northern Lights. There's a section on the Icelandic wildlife. And there's the volcanoes, of course. In 2010, Eyjafjallajökull hit the headlines when the ash cloud was so intense that air traffic between North America and Europe was grounded for 6 days. This video shows the Mendenhall Glacier in Alaska and how it has retreated in just 10 years between 2007 and 2017. This is the ice cave where it's minus 15. It's quite an experience. It's a bit chilly in here though. It's one of the main attractions, man-made, with more than 350 tons of snow. And then from the roof there are more great views over Reykjavik. The Sky Lagoon is a geothermal pool filled with naturally warm waters. The great thing about this lagoon is that you go straight from the changing room down into the warm water. Its edge is an infinity pool, and nearby is a bar, so you can have a lovely cool drink as you luxuriate in the water. The Harper Concert Hall is home to the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra, but this evening we're going to a performance of How to Become Icelandic in 60 Minutes, which would turn out to be a bit of an acquired taste. Next morning, the coach took us to our ship, but we're not actually sailing until tomorrow night, so we have 2 more days in the Reykjavik area. There she is, Viking Star. Since there are no days at sea, tomorrow night will begin a 7-night port-rich circumnavigation of Iceland. We've got an explorer's suite right at the bow of the ship, and with the Scandinavian design, everywhere is light and bright. From the bedroom, the bathroom is equipped with 2 wash basins, a shower and a bath, where you could lie and watch the television, if you wanted to. Outside, there are 2 sunbeds. I'm not sure we'll be using those in Iceland. And a dining area for 4. There are 2 larger ships in port, but with our 900 passenger vessel, we'll be going to areas too small for them. Whilst in port, we decided to go on an escorted tour of the interior of the ship. Viking Star, launched in 2015, is aimed squarely at adults who want comfort and some elements of luxury, but no glitz. You won't find any casinos or professional photographers who pester you at every opportunity on this ship. Instead, there's a quiet and ordered elegance. As soon as the tour was over, we got dressed up in warm clothes for our 3-hour whale-watching excursion. Passing the Harper Concert Hall, we sailed out into the bay, and it soon became a bit choppy. You had to really hang on. Now you can probably see 2 tiny boats in the distance. They're also looking for whales, which is really a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack, and it's absolutely freezing. The boat was really rocking now, but we were perfectly alright, until a crew appeared, saying, "Is everyone okay?" They were carrying sick bags. The minke whales were very difficult to spot, but after an hour and a half we did see some dolphins. Ooh, there's another dolphin. Still no whales, but then we got really lucky with the dolphins. As we sailed back for dinner, some people were just going out. And there was this guy in the wake of the boat. I think he thinks he's the next James Bond. Next morning, we woke to find that Sky Princess had arrived. It's a big day today because we're going on an 8.5-hour excursion to the east of Reykjavik. This is our first stop on the Golden Circle tour. We're at a geothermal power plant where the natural energy in the ground is piped directly to people's homes in Reykjavik as hot water. Heating and electricity are the only cheap elements in Iceland. They don't use gas or oil. It would take us over an hour to get to our next location. There's some of the famous Icelandic horses. This is the second stop on our trip, the magnificent waterfall Gullfoss. It's a stunning sight because now is the time of the spring melt, when the water comes cascading down from the glacier. In the early part of the 20th century, it was the tenacity of one woman, Sigríður Tómasdóttir, who saved the falls from being turned into a hydroelectric plant. From here you could take a tour to the Langjakit Glacier, which we could see in the distance. After lunch, we drove on to Gizur. This is our third stop at an area of extreme geothermal activity. The ground is hot and bubbling. Geysers are quite rare, and in fact this one has given its name to all the others in the world. But unfortunately, it's dormant. However, not far away is Strodkur, which sprouts boiling hot water every few minutes. And a kilometre underground, it's 200 degrees centigrade. Well, it's time to move on again. This is our fourth and final stop, and this is one of the few places on Earth where you can see the effect of tectonic plates, the Earth's movement. On the far side, North America, and over here, Europe. As this illustration from the Perlan Museum shows, a tectonic plate goes right through Iceland. In a way, we are walking down the canyon between North America and Europe, here in the Thingvellir National Park. At the far end is a flag which marks the spot where Iceland's first parliament was established. It was also in this park where part of the American television series Game of Thrones was filmed. It's been a fabulous day out. The driver said it was the best weather so far this year. So after 2 lovely days in Reykjavik, this is the sail away. We're going to sail right round the island of Iceland clockwise. The pilot boat escorts us as we slip gently out of Reykjavik harbour. There's no fuss on these ships, but we're going for a well-earned drink, and then it will be time for dinner. The sun's out, the weather's lovely, but it's actually 10:15 at night and we're about to go to bed. In fact, the sun sets at 2 minutes to midnight and rises again at 1:44. So this is as dark as it gets at this time of year. We're sailing overnight to our first port of call, Ísafjörður. It's 6:30 a.m. and the sun's out again as we approach the small port. Fred Olsen's Bolette is arriving too. It's such a treat to have breakfast outside at the stern of the ship, especially on a day like this. There's a small landing strip at the end of the fjord. It's going to be a more relaxed day today because our included tour is not until 12 noon. So we went ashore and met up with a harbour master.
Today we are in Ísafjörður. We have 3 passenger ships here today, and a lot of tourists coming in a wonderful weather.
Apart from our ship, he is of course referring to Bolette, but also Swan Hellenic's Vega, which holds just 152 passengers. At 12 o'clock, the coach took us along the coast to the nearby village of Reykjavik. Now the Icelanders love to sing, so we were taken to the village hall for a short concert.
Sér hver draumur lifir aðeins eina nótt. Sér hver aldari sem nýgur jafnans. Hverju orði fylgir þögn og þögnin hverfur allt of fljótt. En þó að augnablikið aldrei fylli stund, skaltu eiga við það mikilvægan fund, því að tár sem þerrar burt aldrei nær að græða grund.
Well, I couldn't understand a word, but it was lovely. In the old Icelandic society, there were no towns or villages. People lived on farms, but moved to fishing stations by the seaside during autumn and winter, the low season in the countryside. Osvor is a reconstruction of a 19th century fishing station. Our guide said that 6 men would man the boat, and they would all live in one of these small houses, wrapped up against the cold with only a small fire. She showed us the hook used for shark hunting, and then went on to describe her outfit made from sheepskin. It took the skins of 10 to 12 sheep to make one costume, which was then waterproofed by fish oil. And this is the drying hut where they hung the fish. It was all very interesting, another unusual museum. And finally, we were taken to a mountain stream where the water was pure enough to drink. It tasted pretty good too. Back at the port, Bolette is on the move. Soon we'll be joining her. Tonight we're sailing to our next port, Akureyri. The early light is beautiful as we sail up the fjord. Today's excursion is Northern Iceland's natural treasures.
My name is Alva, and today we are in Akureyri.
And so Alva would take us on a 45-minute drive where the first stop today is here at Godfoss. Legend has it that statues of old pagan gods were thrown into this waterfall as Christianity came to Iceland, hence the name Godafoss, Waterfall of the Gods. En route to the next stop, we were told that Iceland leads the way in green energy. The country is also known for its tolerance and was the first to allow same-sex marriages. Now here we can see the effect of the tectonic plates again in this small canyon. So we're arriving at our second stop, an area of fumaroles and mud pots. Because of the very high underground temperatures, we were warned to keep strictly to the paths. Here at the mud pots, legend has it that naughty children were thrown into the pot. Now, there's a distinct smell in the air, and that's because the children used to pee their pants before they were thrown in. The smell is actually hydrogen sulfide, and in previous centuries, sulfur was mined in Iceland to produce gunpowder. As we know, Icelanders love to sing, so passing Mævatn Lake, our guide did just that.
Sofðu unga ástin mín, úti regnið grætur. Mamma geymir gullin þín, gamla legg og völu skrín. Við skulum ekki vakum dimmar nætur.
Dim Bugir is an area of natural lava formations, which is now protected as a nature reserve. The moss growing on the lava is also protected. Alva, our guide, led us round one of the walking trails. She pointed out the mountain avens, Iceland's national flower, and also a crack caused by an earthquake. As a teenager, she used to come here with a group of friends to party amongst the lava castles and grottos. And in fact, in 1965, Neil Armstrong trained amongst the lava formations ready for his moonwalk. Walking around, there are lots of annoying flies in Iceland, but no actual mosquitoes. Someone should tell that lady. So, after a day of exploration, it's lovely to know that our comfy stateroom is waiting for us. Now I bet they're going whale watching. Let's hope they have more success than we did. And can you believe that this waterfall near our ship is actually pouring hot water into the sea? That's the magic of Iceland. It's a 5 p.m. sail away today, bound for the east of the island and Seyðisfjörður. As we docked, we were amazed to see fog, especially after it's been so sunny all week. Fortunately, it soon lifted, and we were able to have breakfast outside as usual. And someone's having a dip in the infinity pool.
Today we are in Seyðisfjörður.
Well, it looks a nice place. We're going on an included walking tour later. After breakfast, I went out to photograph the ship. That's our stateroom, with Angie standing out on the balcony. Nearby, there's yet another waterfall, and the lupins are beautiful, but the locals say they are very invasive. And just look at the number of waterfalls on the mountainside. Our walking tour assembled at 12:30, and our guide told us about the area. Up on the mountain, they have a problem with avalanches, so a massive project is underway to divert any mountain slide away from the town. This will take several years to complete. The town is well known for being the home of the Blue Church and Rainbow Street. Today they've added a surprise, free entertainment to promote the town with beer, squash, water and tasty local snacks. Well, that was nice. Back to the ship for a snooze. And it's my birthday. That cake looks delicious. It's an 11 p.m. sail away tonight, though you wouldn't know it. Ooh, there's a passing whale. We're sailing out of the fjord and into the open sea. It's a fairly short trip tonight to Djúpivogur. Well, the fog has returned, but we're hoping it will soon burn off. We are port at anchor today, so we'll be getting the tender ashore. 4 hours later, the fog was just as bad. The weather in Iceland is described as subpolar, so in a way, it's what we might have expected. However, at 2 p.m, we were able to board the tender. Many excursions this morning had been delayed. It seems that Viking had managed to hire a fishing boat to show us the way. Better that than the alternative, a day bobbing around at sea in the fog. At last we sighted land. So it wasn't long before we were ashore.
Halló, við erum á Djúpavogi.
Well, that's easy for her to say. The included walking tour took us first to see a mineral collection, and the collector was very keen to show us his findings.
Still look like some moss outside.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Then, as his son translates, he tells us an amazing story.
Finds this one, it's covered in dirt, puts it in his backpack, and his brother finds this part. His brother comes and starts looking at the rocks they found that day. I think this has to be the top of this rock. It can't be because they found them so far apart.
That was extraordinary. What a place. Then our guide took us to visit this large tank which used to hold fish liver oil. A shadowy figure led us to sit in the dark with only a small circle of candles. And then just listen. The tank has become an arts centre. There's a lot of art in this part of the world, for these are the eggs of Mary Bay. They were created in 2009 by Sigurd Gudmundsson. There are 34 of them, each representing a local bird. And talking of birds, this is an oyster catcher, guarding the nest on which his wife is sitting. This small town has just 300 residents, and because today is National Day, they've got the flags out and new flower pots in the town square. 4 p.m. and it's still foggy, but the local fishermen have saved the day. It's our last day tomorrow as we sail south towards Heimaey in the Westman Islands. As we approach the islands, someone's hitched a ride. Although it's a bit dull, the fog has lifted and we're port at anchor again today. This morning we've got time for a leisurely breakfast, and the executive chef has prepared a granola and donut station. It takes just 10 minutes by tender into the town.
Today we are in Heimaey, that's paradise.
Well, yes, it does look nice. And Iceland expects 2.5 million tourists again this year, back to pre-pandemic levels. We checked in at the Sea Life Trust for an hour's boat trip, sailing out of Heimaey and around the Westman Islands to see the bird life. Unfortunately, the puffins are very high up on the cliffs out of view, though we will see some later. This area is home to thousands of kittiwakes. And on another part of the cliffs, we could see guillemots. As we sail back, that's the ferry that connects the islands with the mainland. Inside the Sea Life Trust building, you can visit rescued puffins. Sharks. And there too, beluga whales. We then went on the included walking excursion across a lava mountain. for this is where the Eldfell volcano erupted in 1973. This wooden street sign indicates the continuation of the road, now buried under tons of solidified lava. A mile-long fissure cracked open the earth, hurling 33 million tons of lava and volcanic rock into the air. Volcanic bombs the size of cars rained down. The man who first reported it was written off by police as drunk. Eventually, everyone with an alarm was told to sound it, to wake up the whole town. Amazingly, all 5,000 residents were evacuated safely, mainly by boat through the boiling waters. It's documented in the local museum, where they have a house from 1973, which was dug from under the volcano. It's an amazing story, still within living memory. Heimay's been another fascinating and inspiring location. So it's back overnight to Reykjavik for the journey home. And it's raining, but then we've been really lucky with the weather. We've had such a wonderful week. I thought I'd like Iceland, but I've loved it.